friends. Good day. I'm going to start with the gene keys this morning. The 60-second Siddhi of Impeccability. Okay. Impeccability. This is talking about the language of perfection. The Siddhic state of the 60-second gene key is impossible to understand intellectually. As the 60-second Siddhi dawns, all sense of continuity in your normal life is broken. All trace of your prior genetic conditions are erased. Which is basically the entire storyline that we cling to, the entire DNA history, or the genetic history that's in our DNA, or however that's worded. All of that goes away. When you disappear into the Siddhic state, and you do disappear, what is left behind is simply pure consciousness operating through a specific genetic vehicle. Once consciousness ceases to identify itself as existing, the behavior of the human vehicle is beyond the grasp of the intellect. Such behavior is said to be impeccable. And it's hard to note on, again, because it can't be understood intellectually. It can barely even be translated into our language in order to be described. As we've seen through the gift of the 60-second gift of communication, or as we saw through the 60-second gift, which was precision, communication at the more refined levels becomes very precise, especially through the medium of language. All right, and this is taking that ability to take, or it's having the ability to let the words flow through you directly from their source rather than thinking about where it is that they're coming from. At the Siddhic level, okay, yeah, that's what I just said. At the Siddhic level, words do not come via the mind anymore. They are not thoughts that become words. They emerge directly from the void, naked and pure. So whenever you ask someone, like, do you think before you speak? No. In this case, truly embodying impeccability, you don't think before you speak, but you also aren't concerned that your words are going to come out in a way that's not understood, because they are coming from the same source that exists within us all. They will also use language to demonstrate how futile language actually is. Oh, this is, okay, someone in the Siddhic state. So once you reach that Siddhic state of impeccability, they will also use language to demonstrate how futile language actually is, for it is language and thought that underpin the very illusion of the human state in the first place. Yeah. The 60-second Siddhi may appear to be highly intellectual. Well, I guess, technically, no, because that's solely focused in the mind. In such cases, language itself can be a means to bring about surrender within another. These people are adepts at using language in extraordinary ways in order to highlight the grand illusion in which the human mind operates. And that grand illusion, by the way, is what we call reality. It doesn't exist. There's no way to prove that it exists. There's no way to prove that we aren't all just like in straitjackets in a white room in isolation and imagining all of this. The science underlying all creation is sacred geometry, which he calls cosmometry. Okay? There's a cosmometry behind life. The closer you come to full awakening, the more harmoniously your life flows with this cosmometry. When you finally achieve complete oneness with the divine cosmometry, everything you think, say, or do is no longer done by you, but by the whole. Therefore, it is done impeccably. The real difference between the Siddhi and the shadow is the complete absence of fear, which is the absence of self-identification. Yeah, take away yourself and you have no reason to fear. When you completely dissolve into the everything and you realize that you and it, there is no separation, there is no difference. Like, that veil that we call skin. Let's see, I wrote a little poem one day that said, heaven is all around us. The veil to heaven is thin. It permeates from within us through a barrier we call skin. Divine cosmometry is the language of perfection. It is the manifestation of impeccability, in which your every movement and breath becomes an emanation of pure light. There's no longer anything out of place within your being. There's no longer any need, agenda, or discomfort. All is exactly as it should be in you and in everyone else. The embodiment of this truth leads to ultimate peace. You've crossed the great divide in the throat and can never again return to the illusion of separation. You've entered into the language of light, the impeccable beauty of being. There's so much there. The impeccable beauty of being. When you fully embody your true self. And whenever you also like realize or accept or come to the embodied understanding rather than the intellectual understanding of the fact that everything is all part of the same thing, that we are all connected, that the entire world outside of you is just a reflection of what's going on inside of you, not just in your head either, but like inside your whole system. I don't know, you start to be like less upset, less frustrated whenever things aren't going the way that you would normally want to direct them to go. Right? Interestingly enough, yesterday as I was flipping cards for myself, the chariot reversed, like flipped out but didn't fly out, so it stayed in the deck. But it just got me thinking about, are you trying too hard to control this chariot? And if you've tried to put too much control into a vehicle that has a power of its own, that has a magic of its own, and an ability to move itself in the direction that it's meant to go, if you try to take too much control over that, like, you're gonna crash, you're gonna flip, things are gonna get turned upside down into a way that they're not necessarily supposed to be. But when you remove fear, remove expectations, remove beliefs of the way that things should or shouldn't be, and then take it a step further and let go of your entire past and everything that built you up into this moment, and let go of any future that is to come after this moment, and just sit with what it feels like to be you. Part of what makes it so difficult to allow yourself to dissolve into the everything is the ego. Obviously, right? That's why one of the things it's called is ego death. It just can't fathom not being needed. It can't fathom not and it's, I mean, the ego is required in order for us to exist on this earth plane, yes, but the fact that you can completely remove that ego, and even though you disappear from existence, you will almost, like, it's not that you disappear from existence, like I've said before, it's that you dissolve into existence, right? So even though you let your ego go, there's no real death that happens. What you do is dive further into the web of life, you know. It's not even a web, because a web implies nodes with spaces in between, and there is no spaces in between. It is just this like multi-dimensional tapestry weaving around between all of our thoughts and all of our words and all of our intentions. Our intention is how we direct the compass of our lives. So, and our attention, okay? So if you have your attention on something, but your intention is not in wholehearted alignment with that, and wholehearted, you know, like coming from the heart, so that you know that it's not just in your own self-interest, that's the mind, but so that you know that it's in the best interest for the whole. When you get your intention and your attention together, that chariot moves exactly as it's supposed to, almost like a automated vehicle. You know, you don't have to worry about a thing. You've got the dark, you've got the light, okay, both in front of you, both both the dark and the light wake up to play their role when it's necessary in order to guide that chariot the way that it's supposed to go. And you're not supposed to like beat yourself up or feel guilty or feel bad about sometimes embodying the dark, right? Because there can't be light without that dark. So sometimes in the storyline, someone has to be the villain. And most of that villainousness is a matter of perspective, because the villain doesn't usually see themselves as the villain. And if they are, if they see themselves as the villain, and then you don't take the steps necessary that you're supposed to take, you become the villain to yourself, right? Sometimes it's okay to be the villain in someone else's story, but it's not okay to be the villain in your story to yourself. Don't try and sabotage yourself. Don't try and destroy yourself because your mind has convinced you that it must be so. Stop trying to wrap your brain around it. Just let it go. Let your fears dissolve away, and then let you dissolve away. And from there, I don't know, you get a glimpse. You get a glimpse at the truth that connects us all. You get a glimpse at the vast, infinite space in between the everything. And the more that you clear away the debris, the fear, the mental constructs stuck between you and coming into your heart center, and allowing that heart center to align all of you, all the way from your higher self, all the way down into the roots of the earth. And then you can move forward impeccably. Thanks. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that there.